Hello and welcome to this week's Damp Show. Right, I've just had a phone call off a guy. Well, I got contacted yesterday. So this guy rung our help desk. He left a message, and they sent an email through to us. This is how we get our work. So when people make an inquiry, it goes through to help desk. They'll send me an email. Fill in our inquiry form on our website, and that comes to me. I send a responder out. The guy's 90-year-old. He's from Grimethorpe. I'll tell you, so Grimethorpe in Barnsley. He's 90-year-old, and he left a message saying he wants a quote for a full damp-proof course all the way around his bungalow. And that's the message that we got. And she'd put, he must have told her he was a pensioner because she'd put his 90-year-old on message. Can I contact him by phone? Because he doesn't use email and he doesn't know how to use social media, things like that. So straight away, alarm bells rung. So I think, because I'm an expert at what I do, because I'm a surveyor, a damp surveyor, waterproofing surveyor, and I've been on courses and learnt about these things, and I know about property, and I know about types of property, because I'm experienced. Alarm bells rang because he said bungalow. So bungalows, there's not many bungalows that were built pre-1919. So houses that were built pre-1919, some, not all. This is the point where we say houses pre-1919 might not have a damp-proof course. Houses after probably will have a damp-proof course. Now, that's not set in stone because there's some that don't and there's some that does. But that's the point that we use as a marker. So, not many bungalows built before that time. And most bungalows around here, if I picture them, they're built 1930s, 40s, 50s and onwards. So that means the modern construction, and they will have a damp-proof course. Might be plastic, might be slate, might be felt roll, might be bitumen, different types of a damp-proof course, but will have a damp-proof course. So I sent him because he'd left his phone number, I sent him a text saying that we'd need to come out and have a look. And we charge for a surveys, but you need to have somebody qualified, somebody that's affiliated to a trade association or an association that is basically, that's recognised. I think that's the word I'm looking for. That's recognised and recognised by banks and things like that, because they're recognised for the training. So I sent him this message. Anyway, I get a phone. I've just been on another survey in Sheffield, and I get this phone call. Don't recognise the number. Let's go to answer phone. I don't answer my phone. Sorry, people, I don't answer my phone. I'll get back to messages, but I don't answer my phone because I'm normally busy. I'm normally doing something. I'm normally either on a survey, driving, or working, or writing a survey up. I'm normally busy. Busy. That's me. Damp Sam, busy man. So I listened to his message, and he said, can I ring him back? So we did a bit of backwards and forwards tennis. He left it ringing, and then he rung me an hour drive. So a bit of tennis, but I needed to speak to him because I wouldn't normally have phoned him back, but he's 90-year-old, needed to speak to him. When I rung him back, I've just rung him now. This is why I'm probably a bit hyper. When I've just rung him back, I wanted to know why he thought or thinks he needs a full damp-proof course installing in his bungalow, and he said they'd been contacted. Somebody'd been out from an insulation company I can't remember what it were called. They were in the area, and they were doing free quotes. So let me just get rid of this. Somebody ringing. I'm busy. I'm fucking busy. So they were in the area and they were doing free health checks on his property, and they can do him a free survey. It's free. We'll do you a free survey. And he says this guy came and they've looked at his house. Needs a full damp proof course. A full damp proof course. And he says, yeah, we've got a damp proof course in, but it's slate. So I said to him, in my experience, I've never known a property with a damp proof course installed, a physical damp proof course installed, for it to fully fail all the way around, and so that you need a new DPC and replastering all the way around. I've never known it. I've never known it all be rising damp because a physical damp proof's failed all the way around. And that is bugging me, because these people are going around, vulnerable people, 90-year-old, and telling him he needs a damp proof course. So I've said to him, you need to get somebody competent and qualified to do a full survey. I said, if you've got black mould in your property, we've just coming out at condensation season, well, we're still in. We're just coming to the back end at condensation season, which will be far side of April. If you've got black mould in your property, it's not rising damp. If you've got sulfate salt contamination on your chimney breast, it's not rising damp. Excuse me. If you've got high ground levels and a bridging issue, it's not rising damp. If you've got leaking pipework, it's not rising damp. If you've got condensation forming, it's not rising damp. Not all damp is rising. Very small percentage of damp is rising damp these days. Most properties have got a physical damp proof course if they're a modern building. A lot of properties, there's not many that I see that's not had a retrofit damp proof course installed at some point. And even if what shittest person that that could install a damp proof course, if it were an high pressure one, if they were worst person in the world, if they were, I think they'd have to be blind or deaf. I don't know why I said deaf, but I think they'd have to be blind to install a retrofit high pressure system, install it, and for it to fail all the time. They'd have to have drilled and injected dustbins go somewhere and not seeing where they're going. And that's not being detrimental to disabled people before everybody jumps on my case. I'm just making a reference. So so this is what's pissed me off with these that's going round, because they're not just doing it in one house, they're doing it in all houses. And I've told him price that we charge to do a competent, qualified survey where he'll get told exactly what his issues are and pointed out, and a price put in. And I'm going to find out what this company is. And I'm going to find out a bit more about him. And I'm not going to say that I'm going to put it on here, because I don't want to get into any legal fates or whatever. But I'm going to do a bit more digging. But if you live at Grimethorpe and you've had these people come round your house, put it in comments. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to name them, but because I'll sign up to a code of practice with PCA. But if you want to put it in comments, put them in comments, because they shouldn't be doing it. These companies shouldn't be doing it. One, they shouldn't be fucking cold calling, knocking on people's doors and saying we're going to be in area and you can have a free survey. Two, they shouldn't be cold calling, ringing people and then saying they're in area. There's laws against it. You're not supposed to fucking do it. It's as simple as that. So it just pissed me off. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to come down and just do a a short, angry video, Damp Sam ranting about these people that's preying on vulnerable pensioners. And it's happened all the time, but not on my fucking patch. So if you're in Grimethorpe or any surrounding areas in Barnsley and you're a pensioner, or if you just, you're vulnerable, because this is what they're preying on, because most people who've got out of Artem are probably out at work. Or if they're in when they come, they'll see straight through them. Because they're normally scruffy twats that they send out, because they get canvassers, and they're normally scruffy twats who's been on dole. They'll put them in like a red t-shirt or whatever, and some red trousers, or put them in some kind of colour. Might even put them an eye-vis thing on, just to make them look as if they're part of the team. You see them in town centres, selling stuff for charities and that, or so-called charities. And I ain't done that. I ain't done that, which is them inverted comma bunny ear things. In many videos, and I've done it about 8 times in this one. So you can see that it's got me goat. Yeah. So they're trying to nick work, and they're trying to do work that's not needed. So if you've got a property and it's been built after 1919, and you think it's got a damp-proof course in it, just check. And if somebody comes to your house and tells you that it's rising damp that you've got an issue with rising damp, just have a look for drill holes in your property. And if it's already had a damp-proof course fitted, and they're telling you that it's rising damp, and if they're saying this actually on a survey, get them to put it in writing as well. Get them to put it in writing, and if they put that it's rising damp, and it's all got to be hacked off, a metre high, and you've got a physical damp course in, or you've even had a retrofit damp-proof course in, them alarm bells should be ringing. Them alarm bells should be ringing in your head. You shouldn't have to have a full damp-proof course for rising damp this day and age. There might be a couple of properties up and down country that's not had outdone, barns that need converting, things like that, old buildings, but they'd have to be a really old building. It's probably a bridging issue. So we're going to recap, and I'm going to give you some warning signs and things to look out for. If a damp proofer, or so-called damp, I nearly did them again, them bunny ears. If a damp proofer, somebody that says he's a damp proofer or a damp proof company, comes to your house to do a damp survey, 1, ask them, are you qualified to diagnose damp issues? Do you know how damp affects walls of buildings? That's one thing to ask them. Are you affiliated to any competent, I don't know if it's competent, if you're affiliated to any associations that, and I don't mean fucking Checkatrade, because these cunts were advertised as Checkatrades, this old guy said. He says, well, they were on Checkatrade. Said they were on Checkatrade. That don't matter. You get any fucking, they'll let anybody in Checkatrade. They'll let any cunt in which as well. They'll let anybody go on there. They say that they do all these checks and that. Listen, don't believe them. Don't believe them. So there's only a few people that, I'm going through my checklist. See, tell I've got a bee in my bonnet, can't you? So then your next one is this. The big, massive, this is like a big bell being rung. Dang, 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 dang. You need a full damp-proof course because you've got rising damp. You've got rising damp in your property. It's rising damp. This is what's wrong with your property. It's rising damp. It fucking isn't. It is not fucking rising damp. I'm telling you. Very few properties will have rising damp. And if you have any of these issues, go on to my Facebook page. Look for my group. Why is my property damp? Damp Sam. Contact me. I'll have a look at these surveys, the so-called surveys that people sending you. If you've paid for it, I'll have a look at it. We'll find out a way, and you can either email me them, and I'll have a quick read, and I'll say whether I think you should be worried. I'll tell you whether it's a proper report. I'll tell you whether they're qualified that's done it. And I'm not having a go at people who are not qualified. Although, why aren't you? You know what I mean? Have you been on PCA's technician course? I'm not saying everybody's got to become a surveyor, but if you're surveying properties, might help if you've been qualified and you've done a course and been learnt how moisture affects buildings and things like that. It might help. It's alright going, being shown by Joe Bloggs who he were a good damp proofer. Well, he showed me, and then he showed me, and then I passed it on to him. Things get watered down, new practices come out. You can't just go on a manufacturer's course and then call yourself a damp proof company. Fair enough, like I did. That's how you start. But then you invest in yourself and you go on the courses. Damp technician's course. So get on that. That's course that they need to be on to start with. That's your first rung at ladder. So here we go. So that's my rant for today, and this is me. I think this has turned into a podcast. So this is Damp Sam. Just telling you, be careful out there. There's people and scammers. I don't think this is first time I've heard of a scammer around here. Listen, there used to be companies around here, local companies, and they used to use canvassers. They don't use them anymore because you can't. They're legal. Canvassers going out there, and they used to do it were exactly the same thing. They were sending people out. We're in area. Of course you are. Did bunny ears again. Of course you're in area. We're in area next week and we're going to do a free health check on your property. We'll look round. Why are they doing a free health check? Because they're going to find something, aren't they? When they knock on your door, people going round knocking on your door. I've just noticed you've got a couple of slip tiles on your roof. Do you want me to go up there? I mean, they come down. Yeah, your flashing's a bit thingy as well. And I noticed there's something in your gutter, so yeah. Nobody can see from ground. But anyway, so that's me, Damp Sam, having a bit of a rant, a podcast rant. Just be careful. Just be careful. If you see on a survey, all your plaster's got to be hacked off to a metre 20, and they've put on, just look for that. If they've put on that it's rising damp, get them about alarm bells ringing. Contact me. Go on our Facebook group. Why is my property damp? Damp Sam. Join it. Put your photos on. We'll point you in the right direction. Have a look on YouTube. Have a look at his videos. You'll be able to see what rising damp is. You'll be able to see what bridging is. You'll be able to see everything. I've done a video on it. Just type it in search engine and you'll see all these different types of damp. So that's Damp Sam. I'm going to sign off now. I've been threatening to do it for last 15 minutes. I hope you've had a great day, and I hope you're going to have a good weekend. And whatever you're doing, be careful out there. See you in a bit. Bye-bye now.